All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of AFI's Cover 7. We have a very special guest, the ELF insider himself, Jamal Clay of Athletes Forum. How you doing, Jamal?
What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing?
Doing good, doing
Excellent,
good.
man.
It is
Yeah,
now
really good being here.
mid-season in the ELF.
Yeah.
Very exciting first half of the season. Some teams have performed like we thought, and others haven't. Some teams are gone, some teams are still here. It's been quite a roller coaster. Any quick
Definitely has.
thoughts on the first half of the season, Jamal?
Yeah, I think one thing that, that sticks out the most is obviously you got Ryan and Vienna at the top, but the cluster of teams is a lot bigger. Obviously, naturally, with more teams, but there's a lot more competitiveness in the middle. As I mentioned before, we're gonna have about 6 or 7 teams battling for 3 spots. Where last year we kind of already knew, all right, there's going to be maybe about 5 teams roughly competing for playoff spots. But no, I think the middle of the pack is fairly close. We're seeing a lot of teams get better. Shout out to the guards. And we're just seeing teams that may be on a little bit of a lull. As I mentioned that the Raiders kind of looked disinterested when they played the Dragons, but we'll see this week when they play Munich. But no, I think it's lived up to the hype. I think obviously there was a lot of transactions that maybe a lot of people weren't expecting, but I think year 3 has been a success thus far.
Daniel, what about you? I know you've had some great takeaways publishing every week. What's your takeaway for the first half of the season?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. Just echoing what Jamal said. Yeah, thriving middle class, working class is struggling right now. Not really sure what the future holds for some of those teams. I mean, Leipzig's already folded, which was huge, right? Istanbul Rams folded at the end of the season. Very, very different to Leipzig
Very
folding
different.
mid-season. In Throners, yeah, just do you know what I mean? It's just they're going to get their first win of the season because the
What?
Leipzig.
Oh, because the Kings. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff going, a lot of points being scored, so many points being scored, more points than we've ever seen in Elf. So yeah, love it.
What I would say, just to bounce off what Dan's saying, I think there's going to be something to keep an eye on next year. Is that if you're a homegrown DB and you're balling, get ready to get paid this next all season because DB is going to be at a premium next year. Obviously, seeing the way a lot of teams have gone with the offensive route, but obviously I'm a fan of the defensive backs, but just seeing the trend of the game, DBs are going to be a premium heading in the next off season.
Yeah, definitely. I think DBs have always been a premium, haven't they? In Europe, as you know, like European DB, so rare, so rare. A European DB that can cover
Yeah.
as well. Like you get a lot of hairs out there, but guys that can cover is quite rare. So yeah, like you said, but the financials of Elf seem to be up in the air right now. If I'm honest, like no one knows what the books actually look like, but we're all
Yeah.
super interested. But yeah, as I said before, Leipzig folding isn't a good sign for that.
Well, yeah, definitely. So let's take a look at some of the teams and rank them. So let's take a look at this tiers we built out. This is a little me playing around this afternoon instead of working. We got, of course, the title favorites. So who do you think can really host the trophy in September? Of course, then contenders, who's maybe just a step below that level. Then third, this is my personal favorite, pretenders. Who thinks they're good, but they don't really belong with the top teams? Then we got spoilers. I think we have a few candidates already in this.
Got some spoilers. Got some spoilers.
And of course, kind of the bottom dwellers here. Better luck in 2024. Jamal, I see you chomping at the bit here. Why don't we start off with your guys, the Helvetic Guards? Where would you put them in what tier?
Yeah, I would say top tier with the way they're playing right now. Obviously, capabilities of beating the fire. Now, in all seriousness, they're gonna play spoilers. This is a team in terms of even the first 3 weeks. They should have, to be honest, they should have went 2-1 the first 3 weeks. Maybe it was a combination of filling the team out, building the team, Coach Chow kind of trying to figure out who his team actually is. Obviously, they made a couple changes with with adding some guys in and bringing in some other guys, and obviously French league, Swiss league's over, and they brought in some other talent as well. But the way they've been battling the past couple of weeks, this is a team that could definitely play spoiler, with added doubt. And it's a team that obviously, starting to take, notice of a lot of other teams that are in that middle of the pack. But my guard's definitely a spoiler. And as long as they keep winning, I'm going to keep picking against them. It's kind of like reverse psychology here. So I'll say the guards are definitely playing spoiler the rest of the season.
I like it. Helvetic Guards, hottest team in the ELF. You heard it first.
Come on now.
Jamal, yeah. Daniel, let's go to your favorite team here, the Milano Seamen. What tier would you put them in?
Why did you do this to me? I don't want to do Seaman. That's my
Hey, we're playing against each other this week, man.
I know, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm gonna put them in better luck next year. I know it's harsh, but I've watched all their games and I've been watching them quite closely. Just things aren't clicking, and there's lots of different reasons for that. I think a lot of it is on the defensive side of the ball. They cannot keep a stable group of starters on the pitch, on the field. Things just aren't going well for them. They're getting scored on like crazy. Luke Zaraka is doing well. He's doing what he can do. Yeah. I think he's shown that he's still an elite quarterback. He's throwing the ball so much, but completing the ball a lot, throwing touchdowns. He's up there in the statistics in quarterbacks. But yeah, the defense is just struggling a lot. And there's been quite a few errors in decision making. I think in some close games. I think obviously the Frankfurt game 2 weeks ago, there's a lot of errors as far as decision making. So yeah, I like them a lot. I think they're going to stick around. I think they will get better. They've got strong foundations. But yeah, there's just too many things to work on for them to be a competitive team this year.
I'm going to go ahead and say it real quick. Heading into next year, they're going to be year 2 Barcelona. They're going to be a team that is obviously not competing right now. Just a little bit of certain changes. I don't know, where those changes are. Obviously, they just brought in the DB from the Kings. But I think there's too many talent, not just in Italy, around that territory that they could get a hold of where they could compete next year.
Yeah, definitely a team to watch next year, but yeah, we'll put them at the bottom of the tiers as things stand. I'm going to switch it up, go from the bottom to the top. Rhine Fire, my next team, kind of self-explanatory here. Title favorites. You guys were talking DBs. That's cute. We all know football is won in the trenches with the big boys. And the Rhine Fire proved that week in and week out. They've got the best offensive line and the best defensive line in the ELF. And yeah, you don't even have to watch the tape very long to find that out quickly. So Rhine Fire, title favorites.
It's insane.
Yeah,
the numbers are absolutely crazy. I like you said, spoke about this. But if you watch Glenn Tonga running the ball, obviously he's a great running back. No one's going to doubt that.
I think we froze on you, Dan.
Oh. Lost Dan. Well then, Jamal, you want to kick us off with a Hamburg while we wait for Daniel to come back?
We'll wait for my man Dan to come back. So Hamburg, they're hard, man. They're hard because they're dealing with a lot of injuries. They've been playing real competitive ball as of late. This was a big loss last week against Frankfurt. I want to say they're going to be able to contend, but I don't know. I mean, that losing that game to Frankfurt was so huge. And obviously, you still got Paris, who they lost to. So if the best they could do is split those two games. I'm gonna say Hamburg are pretenders. I don't know if they have enough or if they could do enough to get one of those final 3 spots. I mean, there's some guys. I mean, we'll dive into those teams, but I'm gonna say Hamburg are pretenders as of right now.
Yeah, gonna have to agree with you. They lost too many close games, right, to be contenders.
Too many close games. If Frankfurt, you got to beat. Paris, you got to beat. And not only you got to beat them, you should have beaten them as the away team, right? Mm-hmm. So if they can't close out those games, and obviously there's a whole season ahead. Frankfurt, what, they 2 or 3 games up right now?
Yeah.
Ahead of the next team. So, it's a steep hill to climb right now. I'm going to throw them in the pretender category.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you there. I'm gonna go for the next one, the Paris Musketeers. I'd love to put them
Oh,
as pretenders, but they haven't even earned that. I'm gonna put them in spoilers.
nah.
Yeah, they play well against Rhine Fire. They've played some good performances, like they beat Hamburg barely, but yeah, I'd say they're just spoilers right now. That's the best they can do at this point. Daniel, welcome back.
You guys carried on without me, Savage.
Well, we're gonna throw you right back in the mix here.
Yeah.
What about your boys in Berlin? Your favorite team, the other favorite?
Yeah, I'm huge on them. I think they're a great team. I think they're so good defensively and offensively. I think they're just a step away from being an elite team. Yeah, they've gone toe to toe with Vienna Vikings when they had an injured when they had an injured Donovanism. They've now got Slade the Blade Jarman playing for them, who's tearing it up with literally the best, probably Ryan Fire, a pretty good another shot for this, but I mean, maybe one of the best receiving cores in the league. In Robin Wilczek, Max Zimmerman, Aaron Jackson, absolutely destroying it. Aaron Jackson last weekend, I think, had punt return, kick return, touchdown, and a touchdown receiver as well.
The hat trick.
There you go, the hat trick. Yeah, I think he is. I think Berlin are a step away, and I think they are going to not only surprise some teams towards the end of the season, but also make a run in the playoffs. So they are 100% contenders for me.
Are they beating Vienna this week?
It's a great question, and I think they might beat Vienna, yes.
Yo, the crazy thing is about Berlin is that it seems like their offense is clicking the way everyone expected it to click right now. But also look at their last three teams that they faced. And I watched that Prague game yesterday, and if Prague had an offense with an identity and could score points, they're probably up like by 2 touchdowns on Berlin heading into halftime. They were +5 in turnovers, and they still lost. That's a topic for a different day. But Berlin, I'm gonna be very, very interested to see how they play Vienna this week. It's gonna be a great match. Vienna didn't play well last week, and Berlin seems like they're hot right now. So we'll see what happens. But I'm right there. Berlin, they're contenders for real.
Jamal, I think I know where you're going with this, but I'm going to throw it back to you. What about the next team on this list, the Vienna Vikings?
Vienna, they're a championship caliber team. I think so. I think, yes, despite not playing well against the Panthers, you got to give credit to the Panthers and how they played. Vienna's tricky, man, because as soon as you count them out, they throw a game at you like they played against the Raiders, right? And, if you want to talk about a team that could possibly beat, the Fire, just look at the team that beat Andrew Weidinger's offense twice last year or 3 times last year, right? So they're definitely a championship caliber team. I think they're a team that, they thrive on being the underdog. And in this case, I think they would be if they were to play the Fire. But they're definitely a championship caliber team.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that. We'll see how they do against Berlin after the close game in their first matchup now, facing them again. But I'll move on to their rival, the Raiders here. Interesting team. This is a bit of a tough one. I was thinking, are they pretenders? Are they contenders? I'm going to lean contenders for the Raiders. I'm hoping the Jarvis McClam that we saw the first few weeks is back for the second half of the season because he has to be the difference maker for them. Daniel, I see you're shaking your head. Do you have the Raiders as pretenders?
I do, and I love the Raiders. I loved watching them in the season, and I thought they were such a fun team to watch. I love their roster. A lot of my favorite players play for that team, but yeah, like you said, it's McClam or bust, and that cannot be your identity with a depth chart like that, with a roster like that. It cannot be McClam or nothing, and that's what it seems to have been. So any team worth their salt is just going to shut McClam down. Game over. Similarly to what happened to Hamburg last year, you get rid of Glenn Tonga, game over. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm pretenders all day, but yeah, you're the decision maker here, so pretenders go for it.
I'll throw it back to you then, Daniel. Next team on this list, the Wroclaw Panthers, a very interesting one. A new quarterback in town. They played the Vikings tough last week. Where would you rank them?
That's a really tough one because there is just no consistency with that, right? they seem to be able to beat anyone and lose to anyone. Mac Sexton, I think his name is right, Mac Sexton.
Yep.
He looked okay. He didn't look great. Yeah, it just was not the same team we saw with Matthew Vitali. I don't think offensively that connection with Tony Tate wasn't there. I think Tony Tate still dominated much of the game just because he is an elite player in this league. But yeah, I genuinely don't know where to put this team. I'm putting them at pretenders.
Ooh.
I know. It's a tough one though. I think they're straddling. No, can we put them in the line between contenders and pretenders?
We'll put them right
Put
in
them
the
on. There you go.
TBD.
Right in
That's
the half.
Yeah.
They're hard to judge, man, because I feel like, well, first of all, they're bringing in William James, who's gonna booster that secondary, but they're another team that proved last week that like they could play with some of the contenders, but we'll just see, which team are we gonna get, right? Because their offense, they do a good job at making sure Tony Tate, is getting free releases and getting out in space based on formation and plays. But, if he's not, it's almost like the Raiders with McClam. If he's not getting the ball, who is?
Exactly. 100%. And that running game with Dawid, I can't pronounce his surname, sorry, but he's a baller, obviously. It's just, yeah, I mean, again, it's too inconsistent, right? I mean, that one game he had like 200 and something yards. It was crazy. But he hasn't got that many touchdowns either. It's like we need to convert a lot of these into scoring opportunities, and we're not. I say we, Panthers aren't. But yeah, William James, like you said, will be an amazing addition. And there's also rumors that AJ Wendell will go there. Whether he does, we're not sure. But if he were to join that team, that would be a problem.
You probably have to get rid of Solomon Brown, right? If you bring in AJ.
That or the American DB, I guess. I don't know. You probably don't want to lose a corner,
Yeah, I don't think they would lose a corner.
Yeah, we'll see. Probably by the time this airs, AJ will have signed. So,
yeah.
Jamal, why don't you start us off with the second half of our list here? The Barcelona Dragons. Where would you rank them?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard to say, but better luck next year, man. I just don't see this team, being able to beat any of those, those top teams. Connor Miller got hurt. Who knows how long he's out for? Who knows if they even bring somebody in? But you still got to play the surge. Obviously, you split it with the guards. You got to play Milano again. Raiders, you got swept by. You got to play Munich again, and then you got to play Paris, right? I think that's their other game. So I don't know if they're going to be able to spoil, and the only teams they will be spoiling would be, the not Raiders, the Surge, actually only the Surge. They're not beating the Surge. There's better luck next year. I'm sorry, Barcelona. I love your city, but it's better luck next year.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that. The team that was just spoiled, Daniel. Let's talk about the Surge. Where are they? That's a tough one to rank right now.
So let's just start off by saying, Jordan Newman, what an amazing job you've done. You've turned like the worst team in the league for 2 years running, 2 wins into undefeated season. Well, obviously they lost this weekend, but before that, undefeated, right? And it's not blaming an individual player, but obviously the quarterback issue was a thing this weekend through 4 picks, and that kind of turned the game around. Helvetic just jumped up the turnover leaderboard just because of that game. But yeah, no, Stuttgart, I think they've got an amazing roster and they're really well coached. They seem to scheme against players and teams really well because every game, well, not every game, but a lot of the games they've been have been tight games and they've come out on top. I think that quarterback issue will get solved now with Kenyatte Allen, who obviously was amazing in GFL, did not play very well this year. But that was for the Kings and it was quite a messy situation. So I reckon he can come in, I think, with an excellent coach like Jordan Newman and a really strong supporting cast I think he can do things. I think he might even be more impactful than Riley Hennessy just because he's a dual threat guy. A lot more than Riley Hennessy's a dual threat too, but I think Kenyatte maybe a bit more so. And if you can relive some of that GFL glory, I think these guys are serious contenders. Yeah, obviously huge hiccup against the Helvetic Guards because that's not a game you should be losing.
Sometimes you get lost in the Alps, Dan. Sometimes you get lost in the Alps. It's all right.
Yeah, contenders.
Nice. Yeah, Surge are contenders for me as well. Yeah, I think a new quarterback, whether that's Hennessy coming back. Really, I think Hennessy is the guy, right? If Newman won a championship with him last year in the German league, they'll be able to ride whatever waves there are until Hennessy's back. And when he's back under center, they're a team that can definitely be a champion. However, the Verhevraar and Throners are not going to be champions this year, guys. So I'm going to have to put them better luck next year. I'm pretty disappointed, if I'm being honest. I heard some things Hungarian football is up and coming, but haven't really seen it, to be honest. Whether that's the imports' fault or the homegrown's fault, I'm not sure. But yeah, Enthroners have not looked good this season.
I don't think they, just judging by play, I don't think they really knew what they were getting themselves into. I mean, I think they wanted to be in the league, but I don't really think in terms of the talent, the preparation, getting ready for the type of competition they was ready for. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they knew what they were getting themselves into. I hope they're better next year, and I hope they return next year. All right, but obviously, it looks like they had a little bit of some struggles this year.
I was scathing and
except this.
Savage.
They had a good win against the Kings though, so they could take that.
Yeah. Well, they lost to the Kings, but now they're going to win.
But they split technically.
Yeah, so basically they lost. I think it was like 30-17, something like that in the first game. And because the next game is called, the league has switched the scores. So now Enthroners is going to get the Kings score, and the Kings will get the Enthroners score, which makes absolutely zero sense. But a win.
Yeah, another expansion team. I think Daniel's up next. Prague Lions also have a new quarterback, 6'9", Nate Cox. Can Cox save the Prague Lions?
No. Unfortunately not. Yeah, I mean, we saw his numbers from the weekend. They were not very good at all. I think
a lot of drops. A lot of drops.
Yeah, a lot of drops, yeah. Bad work with tools, but whatever. I think he threw for about 38 yards in total or something like that. It was pretty poor. So yeah, I don't think he can save them. I think there are a few bright spots in the team that they can work on next year. But yeah, no, they're a team that are going to struggle to win any more games. So yeah, bet on next year.
No, it's frustrating because, like, as I mentioned before, they have a good defense. Like they played well against Berlin, at least defensively, right? I mean, anytime you go +5 by halftime, right, you expect not to lose the way you did. So I think there's some things they got to figure out offensively, and special teams. Just, I know it hurts, but it continues to be, a thorn in their side. Every game, there's some part of special teams that is hurting them, going for 6 or something. So I think they got to figure out, a couple things offensively. But we'll see how they finish. Do they squeeze out another win and surprise the team? I don't know. They should have beat Roclaw, so however they're pronounced. But yeah, we'll see if they end up being like the rest of the way. See if they could bump up a spot. But they played in Throners this week. That's going to tell us a lot about one of those two teams.
Okay, that's a good matchup. Actually, that I need to tune into that game. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, Jamal. You kind of hinted that Prague might be spoilers. What do you think about Cologne? Are they legit spoilers?
Yeah, they're legit. They're legit spoilers. Cologne, despite record, I'm impressed with the team that they put on the field in terms of what they were a year ago. They're coming off a 2-week bye, unfortunately, but They got the fire this week. Who knows? Who knows what can happen? I don't think they'll beat them, but
I'll tell you.
I think this is a team that I think this is a team where in their division, you look at the Galaxy. I think they could spoil the Galaxy. I think they got the guys that are down for an upset. I'm not sure when that week is, but in terms of teams that they play and that are fighting for playoff position, I mean, they could beat Hamburg. Seeing how Hamburg's played the past couple weeks, they should have beat Paris week 1. So we'll see. But this is a team that's going to fight. So I'm saying that they're going to play spoiler the rest of the way.
Nice, nice. All right, so we got really 2 teams left here. Daniel, we got one for you. Let's talk about the Munich Ravens sitting at 3-3. They still have a shot at the playoffs. Where would you put them?
Yeah, they are quickly becoming one of my favorite teams. I was very low on them at the start. I felt their roster was not deep enough. But they have proved me pretty darn wrong. Chad Jeffries slinging it, absolutely slinging it. Yeah. Marco Castle, obviously one of the best receivers in Europe. The Irish Nigerian running back, Tommy Aweyu, say his name. Aweyu, sorry. Yeah, absolute baller. I think he is. Yeah, I think he's a real dark horse this season. I think he could even end up as the league's rushing leader. I think he's an absolute baller. So yeah, they can score a lot of points. They just keep folding in the second half, and I don't know why that is. Is it because the depth of their roster? Is it because they rely on a few players to make all the plays? I'm not sure, but they need to work on the second half of their games against good teams if they want to beat good teams. Because right now, it's just them stomping terrible teams and then doing really well in the first half against great teams and then collapsing in the second half. But you know what? I know it's crazy, but I'm going to say they're contenders.
You are crazy.
You know, I don't disagree with you, bro. I don't disagree with you.
Thank you, Jamal. Also, we say that we ranked Chad Jeffries quite low at the beginning of the season, and subsequently he has been trolling all of our AFI writers, their Instagram accounts. So Chad Jeffries, if you listen to this, please stop. Leave them alone. They're young kids.
You win, Chad.
They just, yeah. So yeah, Chad, just leave it on the field, man.
Yeah, Munich, definitely an interesting team to watch. They play the Surge. They play the Raiders again. They can definitely pull off an upset. I'd put them in pretenders personally, but you guys say contenders? Okay. Next team we have, Jamal, is the Frankfurt Galaxy sitting at 5-1. They've won a lot of close games. How would you rank the 2021 ELF champions?
Absolutely. And when you win a lot of close games, that's a recipe for a championship caliber team. I'm going to say they are contenders. I was pretty high on them early, like preseason, and then something told me along the way, like, oh, they're gonna get upset here. They're gonna get upset here, and they keep proving me wrong. And I don't know why I'm doubting myself. But the Galaxy are contenders. Guardian of the Galaxy defense is back. Jacob Sullivan, a little rusty on his return. We'll see, how he is this week. But they're a team that can contend. I think looking at all the teams we have in the contender line, I think is between them and the Surge are going to be probably the closest to a Vienna or a Rhine, in my opinion. But I think Frankfurt's contenders. They're 5-1. A couple slip ups from Ryan Fire, and now you got something to talk about in the West. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's how close they are. So I think they're definitely a contending type of team.
Frankfurt have a great roster. Everyone knows that. Ritorn, I think he's actually one of the better receivers in the league. I think their defense, the secondary is amazing. They've got some good linebacker and D line as well. A lot of veterancy there as well, which is really good. But I have a question for you, Jamal. So yes or no answer only, I'm afraid. Can Jacob Sullivan win Frankfurt Galaxy another championship?
Can he win him another championship? I'm going to say yes, because I think they have the defense to do it. And I think the way their defense played week 1 is not who their defense is right now. Obviously, Coach Weidinger coached circles around that Galaxy defense. But I think they have the defense that can compete. And I think based on their pedigree, I think that they can win one game against Vienna or the Fire. I'm not saying I would pick them, but I think they can. So I'm going to say yes to that question.
Yes, but they won't beat Fire or Vienna.
It's like yes, but
But,
no. I think they can. I think if Frankfurt were to play a Vienna 10 times or a Rhine 10 times, if they don't split, they'll be damn near close to splitting, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to see the playoffs. I kind of want to skip ahead, you know. I want to see Vienna versus Rhine Fire. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, if the playoffs ended today, you got Frankfurt versus Berlin. So me and Dan could throw some pounds on that game if you're interested.
All right, I think we got our ELF tier talk in order here. We got a lot of contenders. Maybe some people were a bit generous, but maybe that's just the state of the league right now. Jamal, thank you for joining us short notice again. You're putting out some great content, 2 videos a week, typically, maybe even more. Where can people find you and follow your content?
Most definitely. I appreciate you, man. Shout out. You can follow on Athletes Forum YouTube. Just breaking down the game, having locker room talk, talking with guys, reacting to a lot of stuff. So you're not going to get any breaking news from me. I'm just here to pick people's brains and stir up some conversation. So shout out to the Athletes Forum on the YouTube, Athletes Forum on Instagram, and we'll do this again sometime. Shout out to them guards though, real talk. That's what we're really here for.
Shout out to the guards. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, stay tuned for the second half of ELF football.